You understand? Because you might not like it. Something is wrong if you don't think that dude groomed that young girl. Took that impressionable young girl who wanted to be a star, who wanted all her dreams that she had to come true, and fed her drugs, fed her pills, fed her alcohol, and fed her mushrooms and things that she never took before to F her mind up, and then put her in a position that she thought that what little that she had, that she didn't want to lose it. If you didn't think that he did something and did that to her, bruh, I gotta say something wrong with you. And my whole thing about it is that Puff wasn't right what he did to people around us, man. He wasn't right what he did to people around us. Him being hard-headed, not listening, and not telling the truth and constantly lying cost a lot of people their lives, man. It cost a lot of people their lives. I want him to understand. When I told him, if we don't do something to these doors, people gonna die tonight. And forget, and I wanna say F what other people say, everybody know I told him that. Our whole crew know I told him that. From Slick to Nord, Bunny, Big Boy, Eddie, all the people that was with us that night, know I told them that. 9 people end up dead.
And whenever these trials come about, the closer you get to the trial date, a lot of things start happening to remove people from the case that are gonna strengthen the case for the prosecution. And I feel like we're watching that take place now with one of the male sex worker guys who provided tapes to the feds. He's disappeared. And this is similar to what happened in the Tory Lanez case, where the bodyguard whose DNA was on the weapon, he disappeared. So I expect to see a lot of strange things take place. I expect to see the defense team do a lot of steps to lighten the image of Combs, and we've been watching that take place.
From what you know about him, Sean Combs, obviously the perception of him has changed dramatically since these allegations were made and since he got charged. I mean, from everything we're seeing now, he seems a very unpleasant, nasty, violent piece of work. Is that a correct assessment?
The assessment is gonna be correct. So what I've learned is, whenever you see a gentleman like this, from affluence and power, whenever they have an addiction to MDMA or the drug ecstasy, they call it the love drug. So he's been doing this drug for over 20 years. So that's gonna lead his view skewed when it comes to sexual activity. I believe it's helped turn him into a sexual deviant. Right. Well, Pierce, let me ask you a question. From your journalistic perspective, have you ever noticed how in this industry, people untimely meet their demise as soon as somebody else seems like they're having a problem? Have you ever seen that before?
Well, there was, of course, the case of one of his other ex-girlfriends, Kim Porter, who died of pneumonia at a very young age. You just referenced your own situation with pneumonia that you believe was deliberate poisoning. Do you believe that may be what happened to her?
Why are so many people coming down with pneumonia? Why is that happening to everybody? What is that about? Where have you ever seen this many cases of pneumonia associated with one situation? So, you know.
There were rumors.
I'm not saying.
Well, I was going to mention on this that there have been rumors circulating online that Diddy may have poisoned Jamie Foxx, which caused his 2023 hospitalization. In his Netflix show, he compared Combs to the devil in revealing his near-death experience after a brain bleed and stroke. He said, I say this all the time, I saw the tunnel, I didn't see the light. It was hot in that tunnel. I thought, shit, have I gone to the wrong place? I looked up the end of a tunnel and I thought I saw the devil saying, come on, or was that Puffy? I'm effing around, but if that was Puffy at a flaming bottle of Johnson.
Opinion, I'm just gonna say it the way it is. No friend historically of the successful black man. okay? None. And they start making this. Here's a man who has made some of the most important. The vision was that of a black man. What have we done? We have reduced him, not everyone, but a large amount of our society, to being a monster. That should make us shake in our boots.
So, Mark Agnifilo, obviously white.
Yes.
The co-captain, her dad, who we're told is going to play a significant part in this case, white.
Well, and let's remember, you're going to have at least one witness.
Day 5 of Diddy's trial has just come to a close, and the list of celebrities connected to him is finally being revealed to the public. Over 100 names were provided to the jurors, including major A-list figures like Michael B., Jordan, Kanye West, and Mike Myers. At first glance, it might sound like typical celebrity gossip, but what's unfolding goes far beyond that. This is about a deeply entrenched network allegedly involved in covering up years of abuse, manipulation, coercion, and silence orchestrated at the highest levels of fame and power. What makes this even more unsettling is that key witnesses are now mysteriously disappearing, testimonies are shaking the courtroom to its core, and highly sensitive tapes, ones that could potentially change the entire narrative, are being kept under lock and key, away from the eyes of the public. The deeper we go, the clearer it becomes that this case isn't just another legal battle. It's a full-blown conspiracy with layers of secrets that powerful people may not want exposed. The situation is escalating quickly, and the truth is proving to be far more disturbing than anyone could have anticipated. One thing is certain: as the trial continues, the darkness surrounding this case is only beginning to surface. Let's break it all down, piece by piece. Jury selection officially kicked off on May 5th in New York, marking the beginning of what could be one of the most explosive trials in recent memory. As part of the process, potential jurors were presented with a list of over 100 individuals who may be referenced throughout the proceedings, including high-profile actors, well-known musicians, and even former romantic partners tied to Diddy's past. Among those listed were names like Cassie Ventura and Don Richard, both of whom have been central figures in previous allegations against the music mogul, as well as Danny Dane Alum, further signaling the wide net being cast in this case. But it wasn't just people directly linked to Diddy who raised eyebrows. The list also included major celebrities such as Michael B., Jordan, and Kanye West, names that sent shockwaves through the media and public alike. It's important to note that none of these individuals are accused of any wrongdoing or criminal activity in connection with the trial. However, they were still questioned about whether their familiarity with these figures might influence their ability to remain impartial. What's particularly striking is that no official explanation was given for why so many high-profile names were included in the jury screening process. This omission has fueled speculation among legal analysts and observers, with many suggesting that the inclusion of such names was not accidental, it was strategic. This wasn't random. It was a calculated move, a warning shot across the bow. The message was clear: no one connected to Diddy, no matter how loosely or tangentially, is immune from scrutiny. Whether it's an actor, a musician, or someone from his personal life, everyone in his orbit is now under the microscope. And as the trial progresses, more names may surface, revealing just how deep and far-reaching Diddy's influence and alleged misconduct may truly be. Something deeply disturbing is unfolding behind the scenes as Diddy's trial gains momentum. Multiple victims and key witnesses are mysteriously disappearing, raising serious concerns about what might be happening to those who are expected to testify or provide critical information. One of the most alarming cases involves a male escort who reportedly handed crucial tapes to federal authorities, evidence that could potentially expose shocking details about Diddy's alleged activities. But now, this individual has vanished without a trace. Does this sound familiar? It should. This exact pattern played out during the Tory Lanez case, where a key witness disappeared shortly after delivering evidence to law enforcement, an incident that still raises eyebrows and unanswered questions today. According to sources close to the situation, this is only the beginning. As the trial inches closer, more unsettling events are likely to unfold. Legal experts and insiders warn that the defense may take deliberate steps to weaken the prosecution's case by intimidating, silencing, or even removing key figures from the equation. And if history serves as any indicator, some of these missing individuals may never be heard from again. The implications are chilling. In high-profile cases involving powerful figures, the stakes are often deadly. When someone with Diddy's resources and connections faces serious legal consequences, the people closest to the truth can suddenly find themselves at risk. Whether it's through coercion, threats, or worse, there's a disturbing trend of key players simply disappearing when they're needed most. This isn't just about legal maneuvering, it's about survival. And with each new disappearance, the sense of danger surrounding this trial grows stronger. Dawn Richard, a former member of Diddy Dirty Money, took the stand, and her testimony didn't just shake the courtroom. It sent shockwaves through the entire trial. As she recounted the disturbing details of her time working with Diddy, jurors listened in stunned silence, visibly reacting to the graphic nature of her allegations. She described in vivid detail how Diddy assaulted Cassie Ventura with a skillet full of eggs during a chaotic and violent episode at his Los Angeles home back in 2009. The image painted by her words was not just shocking, it was deeply unsettling, offering a glimpse into a world of control, abuse, and fear that allegedly surrounded Diddy for years. But that wasn't all. Dawn Richard went on to claim that Diddy regularly held business meetings while wearing nothing but his underwear, creating an environment that was both unprofessional and deeply uncomfortable for those around him. She said he made demeaning, degrading remarks about her body, often in front of others, seemingly for no other reason than to assert dominance and instill fear. On multiple occasions, she testified he entered her dressing room unannounced while she was in the process of changing or getting ready, leaving her feeling violated and powerless. These weren't just inappropriate actions, they were deliberate tactics, designed to keep everyone around him off balance and under his thumb. The abuse didn't stop there. According to her lawsuit, Diddy maintained a reign of terror over multiple artists, particularly women, using fear, drugs, and threats to manipulate them into compliance. He created a toxic ecosystem where speaking out about anything was met with swift consequences. Women were silenced, their careers dangled like bait in front of them as leverage. Refusal meant being cut off, blacklisted, or replaced. In this world, silence was survival. Prosecutors used her testimony to paint a chilling picture. Diddy wasn't just a powerful music mogul, he was a predator who weaponized his influence. He used money, power, and intimidation not just to dominate the industry, but to dominate people. His alleged behavior wasn't random or isolated. It was calculated, systemic, and terrifyingly effective. This wasn't just about fame or fortune. It was about control, manipulation, and fear disguised behind a flashy lifestyle and celebrity status. Even on the very day of his arrest, Diddy was still allegedly caught up in the same activities he was being charged for. Law enforcement officers discovered him inside a hotel room surrounded by items that immediately raised red flags: $9,000 in cash, multiple bottles of baby oil and Astroglide, and a mysterious pink powder later confirmed to contain traces of MDMA and ketamine. These weren't just random possessions. They were direct indicators of what prosecutors claim was a long-standing pattern of behavior involving drug use, sexual misconduct, and attempts to control those around him. The presence of such large amounts of cash and substances typically associated with illicit activity painted a damning picture of a man who, despite knowing his world was about to be turned upside down, continued to operate as if he were untouchable. During the trial, these items were brought into court and physically handed around as evidence, giving jurors a tangible look into the lifestyle Diddy allegedly maintained even under legal siege. It sent a powerful message. This wasn't someone trying to distance himself from his past or make amends. It was someone still deeply entrenched in the very behavior that led to his downfall. Rather than preparing to face justice, Diddy appeared to be doubling down, as if convinced he could still manipulate the system one last time. This wasn't the act of a man cleaning up his life or attempting redemption. This was the final snapshot of someone still living fully inside the world he built, one filled with secrecy, indulgence, and control. Back in 2018, Jonathan Audi stepped forward with explosive claims that Diddy was not only pimping Cassie Ventura out to other men, but also regularly hosting wild, sexual parties he referred to as freakoffs. At the time, Audi's allegations were met with disbelief and skepticism. He was quickly dismissed as unstable, and much of the entertainment industry turned its back on him, effectively blackballing him from mainstream opportunities. His warnings were brushed aside, treated more like the ramblings of someone seeking attention rather than the serious accusations they were. But Audi wasn't the only one raising red flags. Actor Orlando Brown echoed similar claims, speaking openly about the bizarre and exploitative behavior he allegedly witnessed behind closed doors involving Diddy. Comedian Cat Williams also voiced concerns, calling out powerful figures in the music industry and hinting at a deeply hidden world of manipulation and abuse. Like Audi, both Brown and Williams found themselves ostracized, labeled as conspiracy theorists or troublemakers, their careers suffering as a result of their outspokenness. Now, years later, the very stories that were once ridiculed are being substantiated by sworn testimonies, court documents, and even physical evidence. The disturbing details these individuals shared, once laughed off or ignored, are now lining up with what's unfolding inside the courtroom. What many chose to dismiss as exaggeration or rumor is now being revealed as chillingly accurate. The truth, it seems, was hiding in plain sight all along, and the world is finally starting to believe what some tried to warn us about long ago. Diddy's lawyers attempted a bold and controversial strategy, steering the narrative of the trial toward race. In a move that surprised many observers, Diddy's defense team argued that he was being unfairly targeted by the justice system simply because he is a successful black man. They framed the case as part of a larger pattern of systemic bias, suggesting that the charges against him were not about his alleged actions, but rather an effort to bring down a high-profile figure from a marginalized community. What made this approach even more striking was the fact that they didn't deny the serious allegations against him. Instead, they openly acknowledged that Diddy could be violent and may have engaged in deviant sexual behavior, but insisted that none of it rose to the level of criminal activity. According to their argument, his personal flaws and questionable conduct did not equate to guilt on the formal charges of sex trafficking and racketeering. This legal tactic was clearly designed to appeal to emotions and broader social issues, attempting to cast doubt on the legitimacy of the prosecution's case. However, rather than swaying the jury, the strategy appeared to backfire. As more evidence was presented, ranging from witness testimonies to physical proof found at the time of his arrest, the racial framing lost its impact. Jurors began to see a clearer picture emerge, one of a powerful individual allegedly using fear, manipulation, and coercion to maintain control over those around him. Rather than seeing Diddy as a victim of discrimination, the jury seemed increasingly focused on the consistent pattern of abuse detailed throughout the trial. The defense's attempt to redirect attention away from Diddy's actions only highlighted how weak their core argument truly was. It became evident that the courtroom wasn't buying the race card defense, not when confronted with such overwhelming testimony and documentation of misconduct. In the end, the jury's skepticism signaled a turning point in public perception. No longer was Diddy being viewed through the lens of celebrity or racial politics. Instead, he was being judged for the troubling behavior now laid bare before them. The strategy may have been shocking, but it ultimately failed to shield him from the weight of the evidence stacking up against him. An LAPD officer took the stand and revealed that Diddy once tried to bribe him with a large amount of cash to delete footage of the now infamous hallway beating caught on camera. The officer, who was working hotel security at the time, had access to the video showing Diddy allegedly assaulting Cassie Ventura in the hallway of their hotel. He testified that Diddy approached him directly, offered a thick stack of money, and made it very clear what he wanted done with the tape. Fortunately for the case and for justice, the officer refused the bribe, and the footage remains as critical evidence today. But this wasn't an isolated incident. Gene Deal, Diddy's former bodyguard, also spoke out, explaining how Diddy went to extreme lengths to silence those who might expose his secrets. Deal revealed that Diddy called him no fewer than 58 times in a desperate attempt to pressure him into staying quiet. These weren't just casual check-ins. They were relentless calls filled with threats, persuasion, and attempts to manipulate someone who knew too much. It became clear that Diddy didn't just want certain stories buried. He wanted total control over anyone connected to his past actions. Adding to the disturbing pattern, Christina Korm, Diddy's ex-chief of staff, has been named in multiple civil lawsuits as one of the key figures involved in monitoring employees and ensuring they stayed silent. According to testimonies, she played a central role in maintaining Diddy's grip over those around him, acting as a gatekeeper and enforcer of secrecy. Cassie Ventura herself confirmed under oath that Diddy used both security personnel and trusted assistants to keep tabs on her at all times. Whether it was through direct surveillance or psychological manipulation, the message was always the same. If you worked for Diddy or were close to him, you weren't free. You were being watched, controlled, and silenced. Just days before she was scheduled to take the stand, a crucial prosecution witness mysteriously vanished. Her identity has not been made public, but her sudden disappearance has raised serious concerns among legal analysts and observers alike. Prosecutors reportedly informed the court that she simply got cold feet and decided not to testify. However, given the growing list of missing individuals connected to the case, victims, insiders, and informants alike, it's hard to accept that explanation at face value. This is not an isolated incident. There have been troubling patterns emerging as the trial progresses, with multiple figures tied to the case either stepping back or going completely off the radar. From male escorts who handed over critical evidence to victims who have since gone silent, the timeline of events suggests something more deliberate may be at play. Even more alarming, it's not just witnesses who are pulling out. One juror recently sent a handwritten note to the judge requesting to be excused from the trial due to what was described as personal well-being concerns. While the exact nature of these concerns hasn't been disclosed, the fact that someone directly involved in the judicial process feels unsafe or unsettled adds another layer of unease to an already volatile situation. The message is clear. Being close to this trial comes with risks. Whether it's fear, intimidation, or something even more sinister, one thing is certain. People are disappearing, and those who remain are visibly shaken. Judge Arun Subramanian has officially confirmed that Diddy's so-called freakoff videos will be played in court, but only for the jury to see. These tapes, which have been under seal for months, allegedly show Diddy, Cassie Ventura, and other individuals engaged in sexual activity with male and female escorts during what witnesses describe as highly orchestrated and drug-fueled parties. The judge ruled that the footage will not be released to the public or the press in order to protect the identities and privacy of the victims involved, many of whom are still coming forward with allegations of coercion, manipulation, and abuse. However, just because the public won't see the videos directly doesn't mean their impact won't be felt. The jurors will witness everything firsthand, and legal analysts expect these tapes to play a central role in shaping the trial's outcome. Details about what's on the recordings may also leak over time, either through courtroom discussions or media coverage of key testimony related to them. Adding even more fuel to the fire, 50 Cent's upcoming Netflix docuseries Did He Do It?, set to release in early 2025, is expected to dive deep into Diddy's alleged misconduct, including never-before-heard accounts from insiders, associates, and possibly even victims themselves. According to multiple sources, Diddy and Kanye West are actively working behind the scenes to block or delay the release of the documentary, reportedly sending legal threats in an attempt to suppress its content. Meanwhile, prosecutors are preparing to introduce more physical evidence in the coming weeks, including additional video footage and internal communications between Diddy and those close to him. Each new tape, text message, and testimonial adds another layer to the growing mountain of evidence stacking up against the music mogul, suggesting that this case is far from over and could continue to unravel long after the trial concludes. From missing witnesses to explosive courtroom revelations, Diddy's trial is turning into the biggest scandal hip-hop has ever seen, and the deeper we go, the darker it gets. Every day brings new bombshells, secret tapes, high-profile names being quietly removed from the public record, and insiders coming forward with stories that sound straight out of a crime thriller. The defense is scrambling, the prosecution is stacking evidence, and the world is watching as decades of silence begin to crack wide open. With 50 Cent's highly anticipated docuseries set to drop in early 2025, and more graphic freak-off videos scheduled to be played in court. Though kept private to protect victims, this story is far from over. Sources say Diddy and Kanye West are already trying to block its release, which only raises more questions about what's really on those tapes. And let's not forget, every time someone tries to shut this story down, even more details leak out. So if you think this is wild, just wait until you see what's coming next. Because trust us, the worst is yet to come. This isn't just about one man anymore. It's about an entire system built on silence, power, and control. And now, that system is starting to fall apart. Make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss our next deep dive. New updates are dropping fast, and you won't want to miss what happens when the next witness takes the stand, or what's hidden on those tapes they're still refusing to show the public. Because trust us, you haven't heard the last of this yet. Not even close.